Welcome to the Netflix Rookie Cup Series here on FMB TV3. Race number 5 here at Charlotte. It's about to begin. Let's get to qualifying. And while we're qualifying, we've got some things to go over. As we look at the beautiful night here at Charlotte, we've seen a handful of bad things go wrong for Jeremy Stanley in the last couple weeks. Do you think he gets it done this week, or does that luck still continue, the bad luck?
I mean, you can't really predict luck, but you just got to think that Jeremy Stanley is going to shove luck to the side and just show his pure determination and take the win today.
Tires and fuel strategy has been in the news, especially after the Kentucky race last week. What do you think we can see this week?
A track like this, after a few laps, I mean, you really won't need tires like you did at Rockingham or Kentucky. You probably see some guys staying out or even taking fuel only.
It is going to be interesting. Excuse me. That's right. Rockingham. Was it Rockingham last week or Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Kentucky, right. Excuse me. So, without further ado, let's get to qualifying, as these guys are qualifying right now. And they should be getting some times on the board. We have to remember that the times are going to be a lot different. No way to put it than compared to the Cup Series. And with that being said, we won't see these cars traveling as fast, and we get our first couple stats coming up here on the board. It looks like Walton in the 67 so far is the fastest. We'll see if that can be taken away. Goss with a really fast lap, not too far behind him. Eddie Roberts getting up to the top 4, but this could change next time around. We do know that second lap can be faster. Looks like Alex Gordon is in 7th, but as we wait for these guys to get around the next time, it probably will change. And, oh, look at that. Walton looks like he's going to get a better lap here, and Goss will better it too. But a big surprise. Jeremy Stanley not going to be where we thought he was going to be. He talked big time about the rookies not going to get in his way anymore, and if he does, he's going to lose his mind. He said he was going to put a show on this week, and right now he's going to have to put a show on by coming from the back. 18th place for the 57. Alex Gordon, the rookie, who has been in the headlines with Brent McCaleb incident at Rockingham, he gets up to 8th. And as we wait for this to conclude, we can only imagine what Eddie Roberts has got to be thinking. He's got the chance to be the first guy to or the second rookie to win after the new rookies were introduced. So we'll have to see if he can take it. Jeffrey McClintock, though, going for 2 in a row after Kentucky last week. And also we've got a new series for the Netflix branch here. It's going to be a truck series that will be introduced in a couple weeks, and make sure to check that out. Make sure, if you want to know what that's all about, make sure to head over to our Facebook fan page in the description. So here we go. Let's get to the race. While we wait for these guys to grid and get their seatbelts and helmets fitted, and their crews to get away from the car and get their final preparations done. As always, we got Alex Bates in the booth, and with the FMB crew here. What's some things we can expect to see here? We've got a couple new drivers that have been up front, not too much this season, now at the top of the field.
I think this is going to be the week of our new drivers. Got a few of them starting up in the top 10. Some of them started right outside. I think this is the week to get away from the wrecking and contact, and they get up there and get some good finishes.
Yeah, we do know that the rookies, and when we say the rookies, we speak of the new rookies, the ones that came in 2 races after the race and season had started, and nothing but wrecks involving these guys. We had Gordon being a handful with Brent McCaleb. We got Brendan McGee and Jeffrey McClintock, but Jeffrey McClintock went on to silence the haters at Kentucky. As we get the
the only clean rookie we've had so far is Eddie Roberts, and he's got himself up in the top 5 to start in this race. You gotta keep an eye on him.
It will be interesting to see how it all plays out. Like I was trying to say, McClintock going for 2 in a row. We got the call now, so these guys already rolling off pit road, excuse me. And before we know it, we're going to be here at the green flag. So your 2 leaders up front, going to lead them to the flag. Walton in the 67 and the 3 of Goss up high. Charlotte is a fantastic event on the schedule, and everybody wants to win it. Who will win it today? The green flag is in the air, and we are green. Race number 5 in the Netflix Rookie Cup Series.
I would not be surprised if once we get down here in turn number 1, we have 3 wide racing. And back there, the Ford to Max looking on the inside of Ryan Williams.
Yeah, look at Ryan Williams there. He's right in the middle of that tangle. Looks like they're going to sort it out, though. Already clean through turn 1. We'll see how long that lasts. Walton with a great start. D-Max, or Goss with not one. He is falling back like a rock. Look at that. He's got Stafford all over the back bumper of him. And it's going to be really close racing for a couple of these laps. We said the speeds will be down today, and we're already seeing them just barely getting to 180 going into 1. And with that low speed, they can almost hold it wide open around this track, can't they?
Yes, they can. I think the only time you're lifting is if you're towards the back of the pack or if you're getting tight on the inside.
Yeah, and the only thing that the reason I bring that up is because if they can almost hold it wide open, it really limits the difference of the braking zones, and they can stay packed up 3 wide for a long, long time.
It looks like Eddie Roberts got a little loose up off of 4, and they skidded through the grass right there on the front stretch.
Looking back here at Eddie Roberts. And we're just looking at the back of the pack here, where we were talking about McGee in the 82. He was looking to maybe silence the haters just like the 06 McClintock. Right now, he's got a lot of work to do. He's in the back. So up front, something is changing, and it is for second place as Walton holds the lead. But for now, it looks like the points leader, the 14, looking to take it away from Bell, the top spot, or the running up spot. Excuse me, the second spot.
Like Bell's going to clear him here off in the 3.
Yeah, Bell looking really strong in practice, really good in qualifying, putting himself in a good spot. And now Goss, who had the terrible start, looking to try to take it away as well. And already we are 4 laps completed.
Yeah, back here behind these leaders, we still have side-by-side racing all the way back. This is probably not what Jeremy Stanley likes to see. He's just kind of trapped, and he looks like he's got something for the leaders, but he can't get around anybody right now.
On board with Jeremy Stanley, and it just shows you how close these guys are running. Right in front of them, the 9 car of Roberts, who we were just talking about. They were nose to tail. And up front, looks like we got a lead change taking place. No, excuse me. Second place is changing here again, as Bell is trying to hold off the 14 of Acosta here, who is leading the points. But look at Bell get a run through the turn 2. He is right on the back bumper of Walton as they go down the back stretch. So as we come around to complete lap number 6, starting 7 of 60 laps here, we have to believe that there's going to be pit stops today, and there's going to be quite a few. What's the strategy you can see out of some of these guys?
This week, just like last week at Kentucky, is about a 30-lap fuel window, and the main difference here is the tire wear. It's you can get away with some more than you could last week. Last week they were pitting every chance they got, and this week if we don't get very long runs, there will be cars staying out.
It will be interesting. Like you just mentioned, we don't really have too much strategy in the last couple weeks, but I believe we will. And we've got a lot of dust on the front stretch that has been kicked up. I think someone may have gotten into the grass. And we were seeing, like you were talking about, Eddie Roberts getting into it not too long ago. It looks like Riddle in the back might have been involved in a little bit of that as he is falling behind the field. It is a large field of 36 drivers. It's hard to keep an eye on every one of them. Right now, though, it's really heating up front. Look at the 38 of Ogle moving through to second place.
Yeah, we were talking about Jeremy Stanley being trapped back there in the pack, and he has started 18th today, and he's worked his way up to 9th.
Yeah, he's really... Oh, and right in front of him, London getting hit by Gilson in front of him. That's going to hold these guys up, and here comes Stanley. We know he's a hard charger, and he really knows where to put that car. But if he can get past some of these slow cars today and really show the muscle, he's going to be a handful for today's event.
And now he got out of that side-by-side racing and got into more just single cars. He's going to pick him off real quick here.
Yeah, and he's looking to take it away from London. And if he works it good enough, he might be able to get up to McCaleb. Walton falling back. New leader as we missed that. Ogle has gotten through, and he's gotten through in a big way. Look at this. What has happened to Walton as he falls back into what appears to be 5th?
It's something that's a bit common in this series. The leader get out there and get a big lead, and just like he just heats the tires up and falls back.
Yeah, and speaking of heating something up, it's Jeremy Stanley looking to take it away from McCaleb and looking to take it away from Games in turn 1.
Jeremy Stanley is going to take the second position here whenever we come back around. It's only a matter of time before he's the leader.
Yeah, and you've got Ogle, who made a big move on Walton and really got a huge gap out there, but he just went into the third corner real slow. And look at the draft that 57 got down the backstretch. It's a really important factor to today's race, and he really used it to his advantage. He pulled right up, and now he's going to go for the pass, it looks like, in turn 1.
He's going to look for it. I don't think he has much this corner, but turn 3 is going to be the corner to watch for.
Jeremy Stanley lurking, and he dives low going into 3. You said it, and he looks like he's going to pull it off. And that 38's really doing pretty good on the high line for what it's worth. We know that high line isn't really good, but he held it for a little bit. Not long enough. Jeremy Stanley, your new leader, making some positions up. He's really shown his muscle, especially at Kentucky last week. Now he's just putting on a show for these guys. We talked about him in pre-race, and he hasn't disappointed, but we'll have to see if getting to a big jump like he has now, we'll see if these leaders behind him will catch, or these cars behind him will catch him, just like what happened to with Walton. Man.
Yeah, it looks like Ogle, our leader before Stanley, he's already fallen back to 4th and maybe even fallen back to 5th by the end of this lap.
Yeah, and I was looking at the 34 Gilson, who was all but sideways. He came off turn number 4, and he was almost going towards the grass there. These cars are really, really loose on the beginning of these runs.
Looks like Bale's gonna take the 2nd spot, and Gilson's gonna take the 3rd.
And moving on up, it's kind of like a train pattern. You get someone on the bottom line, they start following you, and the guy behind him follows him. And then before you know it, if you're on the high side, you've got 3 or 4 cars that are around you. But it didn't work for Bale. Look at him. He slips up, and he's going to give room to Gilson, who goes through for 2nd.
And you got to think that Stanley just looking in his mirror and grinning, because the more they're side by side, the bigger lead he's going to have.
Yeah, and Bale now, who we thought may have been taking the 2nd place and holding it pretty securely, he has fallen back. Looks like he's going to fall back to 5th. 6th now as they come across the line. So definitely not like last week where we seen the high line really play a factor. The high line seems to be the skunk line, but if you have someone up there pushing you, you can get it done. And look at what Bale's doing. He's pushing Pandisco in the 23, who now makes his way up to the top 10. But oh, look at that. The 67 of Walton got really tight, and he pushes the 23 up the hill, and that's going to make the 27 back off. And, well, it's going to make him lose his time. So we talked about Brennan McGee, who started really far back, as Jeremy Stanley is still leading. But Brennan McGee, he hasn't shown anything. In fact, he's fallen back to dead last. He is one of the new rookies.
It looks like there might be a bit of a problem with that car. He's I don't see any damage, but he's not keeping up with that draft.
Yeah, it's not looking good for that 82 car. Maybe just need to tweak something on this first pit stop that will be coming up soon.
His partner Martinez is not doing much better. That 59's in 34th right now.
Yeah, it looks like that team just got it all wrong. But we'll have to see how it plays out. Not too good so far. But up front, these guys have stayed pretty tight because we're looking back here in the pack, and these guys are pretty well spread out. But up front, it is not the same story. And oh, we got some pit stops underway. And well,
ooh, that was almost. Stafford almost slipped the car up into traffic.
Yeah, that could have been really big for Stafford there. That could have went all wrong. So first group of pit stops underway, and it looks like the back half of the pack is going to elect to pit first. And maybe that's something Brennan needs. Is they're all going to come onto pit road now. And we'll see.
We saw what pitting early did for Stanley at Kentucky. You got to think that some of these guys took some notes.
Yeah. And a lot of drivers.
We got a lot of cars coming down pit road. Stanley, our leader, is in the pits.
And as we ride on board with Jeremy Stanley, you'll just see how wide this pit road is. But believe it or not, these guys can have some troubles on it. And we'll see if Jeremy Stanley is just going to start tonight off pretty simple with 4 tires and gas. He's got the 2 tires on the right side. Going to go right over to the left, and they will take 4. Walton with the first pit stall, though. We'll see if he can get anything done with it. Jeremy Stanley out of his pits, but Walton just now getting to the left side of the car, so not going to be a good stop for him.
Bailey's going to come out of the pits first, and that's something rare for this series. The pit crews, whenever they come in as the leader, they normally don't come out.
Yeah, and Jeremy Stanley's pit crew, exceptional last couple of races, getting him to a top spot, especially at Kentucky. Just came up short there at the end, but he's not going to come up short at all on this pit stop. He's going to pull a huge gap. And Fan, we got to remember, Fan was one of the first guys that elected to make his pit stop. He now moves up to second place when this thing cycles around.
I think that actually Stanley might have trapped him a lap down.
Oh, okay. I'm just waiting for it to update here. You might be right here. Yeah, so Fan will be a lap down. So, excuse me on that. That's just a huge lead that Stanley got out there, and that's really going to make Fan not too happy, as he will be 10th, 1 lap down. Wow, a lot of cars being lapped here. And Ogle just trying to get up to speed. And we got a lot. Oh, that's a crash. Huge crash on the back. And it's the 12 of Alex Gordon. A lot of smoke and a lot of damage on that 12 car. We were just wondering. No, I think Fan is going to take second. So Fan will cycle up to the second place. Wow. I was wondering there for a sec. That was going to be almost every car that went into the pits was going to be a lap down. So Fan comes out huge. But what has happened on the backstretch? Let's about to take a look at it. This is a handful here to get this sorted out. We're looking at Alex Gordon, and we're going to start it coming off turn number 2 here.
Oh, it looks like he's just going to come up off of 2, and I think the 18's about at that. There's a little ridge on the front of these Fords, and looks like he might have just caught Gordon and turned him down into the 22, and going to ruin most of their days.
Yeah, and one car that gets away driving and staying going straight is Martinez, but I think he's going to take one of the harder hits. And just talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time for Hosky. He has not had a good season, and it just continues in the 24.
Pit stops are underway, and got a lot of cars coming in, a lot of cars coming out. It looks like Brent McCaleb's around in the pits, and he gets it back going straight.
And that's right in front of the Alex Gordon, who was just involved in this crash. And it's weird to see a lot of these cars on pit road. Some of these guys had just finished cycling through. But I think Ogle is one of the guys that thought, well, there's no use to going in the pits. He's going to stay out, I think.
Looks like we had anybody that just came out. Looks like they stayed out. Stanley's got shuffled all the way back to, looks like 4th.
Yeah, it's going to be about 8th, actually, if some of these guys aren't a lap down. But talk about, I mean, that's got to suck for Fan, because here we were thinking he's a lap down and thinking, you know, he didn't get it right, but he actually did it, well, perfect, really. He did it better than some of the guys that pitted with Stanley, coming out second, but it's not really going to pay off. He's going to go back in the pits, and it appears he's going to lose some spots. Yeah, he will. He will lose about 3 or some odd spots. So pace car lights continue to stay on. As we wait for this, Alex Gordon comes out of the pits, and he looks like he's got them, for the most part, that damage repaired, but it didn't help that he got into a crash on pit road. But the pit crew taking their time on that right side. It looks like they might have had a lot of things wrong with that car, especially something maybe on the right side of the car. They spent about 30, 40 some odd seconds on that right side. What could that be?
More than probably not a whole lot of damage. Just a lot of inspecting, making sure that there's nothing that's going to hurt him in the end.
Yeah, I mean, he really hit the car pretty square with the back end. So I think he might be good if they've got that buffed out. But once again, Tyler Wesley, who initiates the crash, he appears to have gotten out of it without any damage. But
I think he might have. It looks like he just got whatever damage he got from the initial contact.
Yeah.
I don't think he hit much more than just a quarter panel on the wall.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you're right on that. He's going to be pretty good if they've got that buffed out. So pace car lights are out, and we will go green flag racing this time. So let's reset it for you. Ogle in the 38 is going to be first. The 78 of Games. London in the 19. Baskinger in the 26. And Jeffrey McClintock in the 06 going for the double 2 wins in a row. Going to be 5th here. And if I'm Jeffrey McClintock, I think right where he's at is really good. But you got to remember, he elected to stay out just because he had just been in the pits. Now Stanley, on the other hand, he decided to come in and top off. Now maybe that is something that wins him the race, you know, because he's now offset on this pit strategy of some of these guys in front of him. And we've seen pitting early has really worked in the last couple weeks, and it really worked for Fan, and I'll be surprised if we don't see Fan do that again and try to make up some positions. So,
yeah, they only make it about 19 laps, or they pit at 19 laps. I'm not sure how far they can actually go, and we're coming to the green.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Here we go. Ogle, the new leader. We'll see how long it takes Stanley to get back up to the front. Green flag is out. Lap 25 completed. We are starting 26. Games wasting no time.
Got a lot of scattering. Earlier we saw everybody kind of just stay in line, and look at Jeffrey McClintock going in there and rubbing doors with the 26. He wasted no time. He's going for 2 in a row.
Yeah, that's not the place to do it. 3 wide. Oh, we've got a car around the back. That's a huge hit. Brent McCaleb hard into the wall. That's going to be another caution. And the 06 has snuck through. Look at Jeffrey McClintock. He knows the caution's out. He's going to get to the line. And we are under caution once again, but this one a 1-car incident. And Jeffrey McClintock takes the lead. Wow. But not the... And as we see McCaleb... Oh, we've got another crash on the front stretch, and it's going to involve the 14, your points leader. So after going 20-some-odd laps without crashing, we have just had chaos.
You know what they say? Cautions breed cautions.
Indeed they do. Let's go back and take a look at what happened to Brent McCaleb first, and then we'll get to the points leader. Look at this real fast so we don't miss pit stops. Through turn 2 right now.
Oh yeah, this is just what happened with Wesley and Gordon. Just the outcome's a little different.
A much harder hit. Definitely on that. But let's quickly go up here and see what happens with the 14. Your points leader. On the bottom. Oh, I think the 9's going to get turned by Ryan Williams. Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. Ooh. Lucky that no one else was involved in that. Oh, wait, I don't think it's over. Oh, man, look at Martinez just sneak through that. Definitely
that was,
close call.
Too close for comfort. Looks like Eddie Roberts is going to get a lot of damage out of that. He hits the wall a ton.
And a big driver's side impact, but all these guys are going to drive away from the crash. Pit stops
I think Martinez might have not got by it like we thought he has. He's got some front end damage.
Yeah, I think that was too... Yeah, it looks like Martinez does have a lot of front end damage, but that could be... You got to remember, that could be from the crash he was involved in before this. He did take a pretty big hit to the inside or the outside wall. But he might have just clipped it again and made it a little bit worse. Your leader though, Jeffrey McClintock, is going to pit. So these the tires or the gas cannot last as long as we think, because he just came in before this and he elected to stay out on the last caution because he was just in. Now he tops off, so what does that do exactly? Well, he is now on a different strategy than say Jeremy Stanley. If it comes down to where these guys have to pit, McClintock will be able to stay on the track a little bit longer, and what we've been seeing with tires, it seems like you can push the tires a little bit harder than you can with fuel. So we'll have to see how that works out. Well, we remain under caution, so we're going to go to our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll have the 1 to go and the conclusion of the race. Halfway next time by, you're watching race number 5 here on FMB TV 3. Welcome back. We are about to go back to green flag racing, and there is a familiar sight, something like Jimmy Johnson would do in the last couple races, but cannot get the win for Jeremy Stanley, but definitely being consistent And if he can get a win, he can definitely ride that consistency out and really have a chance for this championship. We'll see how it works, though. Jeremy Stanley going to lead him to the flag. Green flag, lap 30, halfway for this race.
Just like the last restart, they scatter a lot, and I don't understand the single file restarts. Everybody's a lot more aggressive than they are at the double file at the very beginning.
Yeah, and look at them. They are very aggressive. They are not scared to make a move, and look at the move that Goss is going to make. He's not happy. He has not had a good car since the green flag dropped today, but they were going to carry it 3 wide in a turn. Number 4, this does not work most of the time. Oh, contact!
Oh, they make contact.
Goss into the grass. Look at that. Does he stay? He's going to come right back up into traffic. Oh, these guys are slowing down. They make it work.
That's unfortunate for a lot of these guys. Fan.
Hard in the wall
now
behind
we have a crash.
him.
Stafford hard in the wall.
He's got it going again, but it's just a single car spinning.
That's a caution. That is a caution.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Coming back to the line, though, look at London. He knows the caution is out once again. He's going to try to make something up. London, look at the speed he's carrying off the corner. Not going to get there, though. And my goodness, you're right with the caution breed cautions. But, man, that could have been a lot bigger than it was. We're not going to get that much damage to these cars. That could have been half the field. What a move by Goss, but he's going to lose a ton of track. He's just going to be far back now. I think 18th across the line after being in 4th. Wow. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. How that did not collect more than 2 drivers, I will never know. Coming through turn 4. He just gets turned by the 44 Fan, who we were talking about. And as he's come back on the track, I thought him and Fan were going to get into it. But it doesn't happen. And look at the 12 of Alex Gordon being up here. But I think it's all going to get bad here. Yeah, when Stafford comes back up, he gets turned. Well, he gets turned by another car, but it's not his fault. Or it's not the car of Zach Brown. It's not his fault. I mean, Stafford just comes right back up into the racing lane with nowhere to go for Brown. Walton, who at one point was there, he misses it. But just like that, it's a single car spin, loops us around, gets it back going, and we stay pretty clean. Pit stops.
He's only going to come away with a little bit of right side damage. If anything, the 8 car Brown's going to be a lot worse off with the hard front end, him back to the side.
Look at him, 5 wide, almost 4 wide, or 4 wide, off pit road. Man, that's going to be a hard one to sort out. So we go 20 laps without, a caution, and then we go 3 cautions in the last 14 laps. I mean, what is going on with these guys? They are just, I mean, we know they're rookies, but man, this is some weird racing from these chaps.
I don't know, but it looks like we might have just had Jeffrey McClintock gain a ton of spots on pit road.
Yeah, we got to remember, he cycled through on the last restart really far in the back, and I guess him doing that really made a lot of time up, put them in a position. 10th at the line last time by, he's definitely going to be 2nd when they come around. Reeds will be your first car a lap down. Now, this will be the first time we see this. He will be on the inside of the track. Maybe that's going to calm these guys down, because they...
I don't think they're going to make him go to the inside. I think he's tailing to the lead lap right now.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Pace car lights stay on. We'll get one to go next time by, I believe. So as we wait for the caution to go through, we got an update on the 2 car. The 2 car's been on pit road. Stiverson, he's been on pit road for now, I believe, the last 2 cautions. There is something wrong with that car, and you would think the Netflix officials would have him go behind the wall if it takes too long, endangering his crew. But he's
actually lost 7 laps down there. I don't know what they're really accomplishing right there.
Yeah, you think you just take it back into the garage and get that thing fixed, but they're confident that it might be something they can fix right there, but they are just not moving. And we'll have to wait and see if Reed's right now. You said he was on the tail end of the lead lap, and you would be correct. Not a lap down, but he is only a couple feet from being it. He's going to have to be really close minded with what he does. We've seen with these restarts, these guys fanning out 3 wide and really being the problem and why we're seeing all these crashes. But it's not anything big. We haven't seen a big crash take out, a third of the field like we've seen at a couple races this season. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but maybe with Reed there, these guys calm down a little bit. It's definitely going to be interesting. I think if we go in the corner 3 wide again, I can almost guarantee we're going to see the same incident happen.
I can almost guarantee that Stanley does not want to see a car not race for position in front of him.
Yeah, he's thinking right now, if I'm going to get trapped by anybody, it's going to be Reed's. No matter how it turns out, it's always going to be him. And unfortunately for Stanley, I think people in Vegas would put pretty good odds on that happening right now.
You look at a second there, that's McClintock, the last week's winner, who actually beat Stanley after he was held up by a lapper, and then the wreck at the back ending the race under caution. You gotta think that Stanley's just pretty much just reliving the moment right now, looking at the bumper of the 06.
Yeah, Stanley only 2 positions away from clinching that win. He has to be furious if it doesn't go down the way he wants to today. He said before the race, if a lapper is involved in him losing another race, he might lose it. And unfortunately for Stanley, the odds are pretty good for that happening. Green flag out for games. We are racing. Let's see if we can get some green flag racing underway. And oh, look at Reeds. He did not get going. This might make it worse.
Looks like McClintock might have just ruined his night. He's gonna go to the outside with the lapper, and
and
McClintock, or Stanley that is, must be chuckling right now, because McClintock's definitely a threat, and he is now really out of contention for.
Yeah, look how fast Reeds is not going. He is holding Babel now. McClintock now the 67 of Walton, got the 77 of Gardner, Bale in the 27. This whole high line is junk right now.
And we have a new car in second place, the 30, and we're probably gonna have a new leader next time by.
Look at London giving a little bit of a bump draft down the front stretch a little bit to the back bumper of the 30. He lets off. I think he's saying he was going to get into the back of the 30 if he didn't. Oh, cars into each other back there. It's Walton. He saves it. These guys are 3, and they're just stacked going down the backstretch right now. 3 wide. Look at Alex Gordon in the middle. They're going to look 4 wide in turn number 3 and 4. Let's see if we can get through it. Oh, this is not going to be good if it goes wrong. 67 of Walton all over the place. Now Reeds is going to...
Now they call up the Reeds, and this is probably going to either cause a wreck or settle the pack.
Yeah.
They're going to be slowing down a lot right here.
If it doesn't cause a wreck, it's probably going to be the best thing that could have happened to some of these guys in the back. Whether they like it or not, that probably saved it from not having a big wreck. But
Alex Gordon's going to sneak by, and we're about to see what he's got left in that car after being involved in a couple incidents tonight.
Yeah, up front, though, I got to get to it. Jeremy Stanley has lost a lot of time. As we go back up front, looks like the 30 of Roebuck has gotten the lead now. And Ogle is back up in the second place as he got the 38 of Gilson behind him. Or the 34 of Gilson behind him, excuse me. So Stanley now moves back to 6th. He's holding on to it for his dear life because the 41 looks to take it away. But if Stanley's smart, he's going to cut down in front of the 47, but it might be too late. No, he's going to get it. But not without the 41 of... the 41 not being displeased. He almost gets in the back of Stanley going through turn 3 and 4. Up front, though, it looks like the 83 Riddle, who started almost dead last, is going to have an effect on the way this ends. Why you ask that? Well, he has made up 10, 20, almost 28 spots today, and he is looking to make it more as he's trying to get around the 34 Gilson. And now it's kind of, we've settled out a little bit, and hopefully for a little bit longer, as we like to see some green flag racing. And we are green all the way around the track, so looks like we might be getting into a groove here. That's something Jeremy Stanley does not want to see, but we will see yellow or green flag pit stops before this race is all said and done. And maybe that's where Stanley can get something going. Look at the 91 of Streeter, who we haven't seen too much of in this race. All over the back bumper of the 57.
Looks like Stanley's car's at that point where it's starting to gain a little bit of time after falling way back there on the start. But now he's going to get a little racy with the 91, and he's probably going to fall back some more.
Yeah, and Fan, who brought out that last caution, he has made his way up behind the 91 of Streeter, and those two look like they're going to get into lockstep and move up to the front. And as I say that, the 34 Gilson gets it all wrong in turn 3 and 4, and he's going to lose a ton off the corner. Look at that.
He almost shook that car down to the 26 of Baskinger. Startled him a wee bit.
Yeah, and speaking of Baskinger, he has been up either on his roof or on two wheels in 2 of the 5 races we've ran this season. So it's something he just doesn't want to be involved in anymore. He wants to just get through this season, the rest of it, without being off the ground. And right now, he looks
whenever he got all 4 wheels on the ground, he's definitely a car to watch in the final 3 laps. I think he restarted 3rd in the final restart, not the last 3 races, but the last 3 races he's finished.
Yeah, he's definitely been one of those guys up front that has been in that catbird seat, just not been able to really get a good chance to win a race. Right now, he's got his best chances he's ever gotten, and look at these guys fan out down the backstretch. Streeter, man, he is on the money right now, and if that's not going to do it, the 10 behind him is going to. Look at Scott all over the back bumper of the 91. But the 30's loving it. Roebuck says, bring it on, guys. Bring 3 and 4 wide. I'm going to start to pull away. But not before. Look at, and just as I say it, the 91 just got shoved off into turn 1 and 2 by the 10 of Scott. And he's right there, back on the bumper of Roebuck. And man, I just jinxed Roebuck because the 91, he probably didn't like it too much, but he's probably smiling now. Roebuck to the lead, or Streeter to the lead, excuse me.
And you got just Baskinger just sitting there in the catbird seat, really. These cars racing what could be 3 wide are really just 1 car for Baskinger to pass.
Yeah, Baskinger, well, he might be basking in some glory, no pun intended, here in a sec, if he can get something going.
Looks like the 30 has really fallen off, and Baskinger followed him off in the 2 and just made him lose a ton of ground.
Yeah, and I think maybe the tires are starting to come into effect. I mean, we see... I mean, there's not much else you can say. I mean, Roebuck did a hell of a job to pull out to a big lead, but it just seems like it all goes wrong, and when it goes wrong quick.
After doing some math, we have 13 laps to go here, and we started this run over 8 laps ago. We got a pit.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt you here, but this is all going to go wrong for the entire field if they don't do it right. Look at Martinez. He is going to hold up this field, and he's got the low line blocked for a second. Now he's got the high line, and this is going to be stacked off turn 4. And
yeah, that pit stop's probably going to turn into a pit stop under yellow here. We're about to have a giant pack here if this 59 doesn't get out of the way anytime soon.
Look at this, 3 wide, and Darren and Scott is just really pushing the envelope here, and they might go 4 wide as McClintock thinks better of it, lets off the gas. But man, how many times has McClintock been behind someone today? He has just now gotten back up into the good spot of the track, and now he's behind another car again. Look at the teammates, though. All 3 teammates here. For a second, they get into each other.
And they're in the grass, and that could have been a lot worse than it was.
McGee will get aggressive with anybody, no matter if it's his teammate or his best friend, and that just shows you right there. So as this is all going on, we go back up front to see what's going on up there. And Reeds, now we have Martinez, now we have Reeds, and just when Pandiskio wants to go for the lead, here comes Reeds. Now he's going to stack up the field, and while all this is going on, we've got the entire field nose to tail almost.
And while this is all happening, you just got to wonder who's going to be the first one in pit road and what's he going to do. If they're in pit road, they're not getting held up by one of these lap cars. Somebody can really gain.
And they are almost around. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Streeter, man, he has to have one of the best saves of this race. He was almost tearing up a lot of cars. And speaking of tearing up a lot of cars, the 3 of Goss.
A lot of cars sliding around, maybe slowing down for pits. I don't know. Yeah, there's cars in pit road.
Yeah, and
the Caleb and Wesley.
Yeah, and heads up by London right there. He had to get into the wall and grind it just to make that work. That was a terrible spot for that to go down.
Our points leader Acosta has also made pit stops.
Yeah, and while we say all this, Fan, and it's hard to keep up with it, we apologize, people, but Fan is taking the lead somewhere in the midst of all that chaos. And it appears we're going to get the rest of the field on pit road except for your leader, Fan, as he elects to stay out one more lap, and we'll see if that
looks
plays.
Looks like Stanley's going to stay out also.
So a little bit of strategy being played by these guys, but you got to wonder if it's going to make anything out of it, because with these tires being the way they are, you're going to lose a second a lap on old tires.
But you got to remember though, Stanley pit on that last caution, unlike a lot of drivers that have came in.
That is true. Oh man, look at the Oh, we've got a crash.
Whoa.
Look at the
What?
28. He just turns the 18. You
28
gotta
just turns the 18 right in front of Jeremy Stanley. I don't know.
Oh, those guys have. Oh, and they've.
And that's.
Oh man, that
Is that
almost
a
takes
caution?
out. Oh, that is a caution. And Stanley's on pit road. Stanley's gonna pit while the pits are closed. And that's gonna ruin his race because we're gonna be, by the time this race goes back, we're gonna be 5 laps. What a turn of events. And I hate to point back to it, but the reason why the 18 was in a crash at one point in this race was because Brent McCaleb was involved in it as well. A little bit of retaliation?
It looks like Brent McCaleb's involved in a lot of incidents like this, whether he's the one being turned or doing the turning.
And that's not going to go down with the Netflix Rookie Cup Series officials.
Oh, we've got contact under caution. It looks like the 38 got into the 5 a little bit, turning up the track. I don't know if he's going to hit the wall or not.
Yeah, and there's a lot of debris. Look at Gardner come through here. These guys are just speeding by. So absolute chaos in the end of this race. And your 14, your points leader, he's got significant damage to the rear end of his car. And we are just trying to make sense of it all right here real fast. But what is going on? Gardner looks like he's going to retake take the lead, but we have to wait for time and scoring to confirm that. A lot of cars still on pit road as these guys are just cycling through. Bale is off pit road. Wow. And like I said, by the time we get back to green flag racing, it's going to be under 5 laps. And Stanley, his race is ruined.
Well, we see some crazy things tonight. You got to think that there might be some cars that just came off a pit road that'll go back down and do it again.
I'm curious if he's going to get a penalty, and that's the only reason I say it's ruined, is because if Stanley goes onto pit road like he did under a red condition for the pits not being open, that's got to be a penalty.
I don't know. If he was already committed to coming in whenever it was closing, they might let him slip by along with the 83.
Well, you keep an eye on the timing and scoring. We're going to go back real quick. I know it's not too important, but we have to see why this all started with the 18 in the 28. This is, I have to say that it's not going to be good for Brent McCaleb tomorrow morning when he gets the news about what's going to happen to his career as far as the next couple of races, because this is just out of control. This is at one of the worst parts of the track. So the 18 goes to pass. Now, I think Brent McCaleb did not like the 18 trying to pass him before they got to the merge lane. But whether you like it or not, that is in the worst possible spot for a wreck to happen, especially because if Tyler Wesley comes back on the track like he does, and Ogle almost gets the worst of it, as these guys, Bale and Ogle, having to make evasive maneuvers, he could take out a lot of drivers, and that could really hurt someone.
This all happens while the top 3 is sneaking by, and yeah, I don't think McCaleb's gonna like the consequences of that. And
Brent's gonna start. Let's see, he is the 28 car, and we'll see where time and scoring has placed him. 1 lap down. He's gonna be one of the last cars 1 lap down. So as we run it through, it's gonna be a handful. And the unfortunate part about this is, again, we're gonna be faced with a ton of cars 1 lap down in front of the leader. Matter of fact.
This might be shocking to you, but Jeremy Stanley scored 3rd right now.
Oh, so they're not going to penalize him, are they?
No, because what I'm thinking is the pits might have been open. He was the cone is pretty far out there, and I think he might have hit it before they actually waved the yellow.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say this has been one of the wackiest races as far as the last 20 laps go, and it's about to get crazier. Let's try to break it down for you. Your leader is going to be Fan. Your second place guy is going to be Riddle, and don't look now, but Jeremy Stanley, as Alex Bates has just confirmed, will be 3rd. That's not the craziest part. The craziest part is they're going to have 12 lappers in front of them, some with damage, some with not, and it's going to be absolute chaos when we get back to the green flag here.
It's going to be, it looks like a green-white checkered in regulation.
So let's remind you how this is going to work. If we see, the next flag will end the race once we take the green flag. That is confirmed. We will not go to a secondary green-white checkered. The rules are as they say. Jeremy Stanley will start 3rd. Again, 83 of Riddle will be 2nd, and your leader of Fan will be 1st. Fan we've seen in the grass, but my goodness, if you think it's been exciting this entire race, you want to watch these last 4 or 3 laps. Green flag is going to be in the air. We are focused on Fan. Everybody in front of him is 1 lap down. Green flag is out. We're racing here at Charlotte. Look at Jeremy Stanley wasting no time. He's going to go to the high side, but that's not where you want to be, though. But is that where the lap cars are going to be? That is a smart decision. Look at Stanley.
Has just made up a ton of time.
He goes to the lead.
He gets around Brown first. He's in the lead. Fan's on the bottom. Stanley's gone. He's going. The slow cars are behind him. All he's got is clean air.
But he's got lappers in front of him, Bates. You got to watch out here. They've got a huge pack going through 3 and 4. It might be a huge crash.
I don't know. If I'm Stanley right now, the only rookie I want to see in front of me is Eddie Roberts. And,
but here comes Fan. Look at Fan. He's on the bottom. Now, Jeremy Stanley, where's he got to go? He stays to the bottom, and now he's all over the back part of the 9. Here it comes. Now the 9 looks to be out of fuel. Jeremy Stanley held up by the 9.
So is Fan. And
look at Fan get into the back of him.
This is, if Stanley can get around the 9 here and Fan can't, this is going to be the deciding factor.
Fan all over the back bumper of Jeremy Stanley. He knows this is for the win. Here comes the 44. A lot of cars that went by these guys. We got to make sure Jeremy Stanley is still leading. At the line, white flag. And it will be for Jeremy Stanley. Here comes Fan, though. Does he stay? Oh, Stanley having to be held up by the 98, though.
Ryan Williams not giving any room there to our leader here on the last lap. He's an aggressive one, but Stanley
to the bottom.
He's going to get in behind the 6, maybe, and he's
look at this. Does Fan go to the high side?
Where does Fan go?
Out of turn number 4. Does Jeremy Stanley get it? He is.
Stanley has it. Stanley wins. The luck is gone. He just won a race in lap traffic.
Look, that has got to be the greatest move we've ever seen in this series. Have you ever?
We're going to have to go back and look at that restart.
Oh my gosh!
Stanley and Fan, they had 2 ways of maneuvering that start, and Stanley's figured it out. He's been held up one too many times. And
man. You're right on that, Alex. That is got to be one of the... Never have I seen a driver in this series or any series I've ever seen alone be as smart as that. Jeremy has been in that situation far too long, and like you said, he had enough of it. Let's go back and take a look at this. This is if you're an aspiring race car driver looking to get something done in this world, pay attention to Jeremy Stanley because he shows you how it's done here on this restart. Here we go. Green flag is out.
The moment that green comes out, the lap cars were really just off. The 83 was off. And then you just got to think that Stanley knew he was going to win this if he gets around a lap car going into 1.
Man. And that's just what you have to do. That was the thing that Stanley had to do. He was lucky that Fan didn't do the same thing when he got behind the 9 of Roberts, and we thought Roberts was out of fuel. I think he dropped a cylinder because...
Not only does Stanley get around the 8, but once he gets up to Roberts, it turns out to be a lot slower than expected, he doesn't just check up, he runs into him and gets him up to speed.
Stanley was not about to have it go sour for him, and Fan was all over the back bumper, and I think Fan, believe it or not, has to help the 57 get around the 9 before he can get around the 57, so I think there was nothing that the 44 could do. Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you stayed along this entire race. Let's go over your top 5. Well, obvious. Jeremy Stanley in the 57 is going to take the win. He said it on his Twitter. He was going to do it, and if he didn't get it, it was going to be trouble. Thank the Lord he does get it. 44 of Fan's going to take second. The third place is going to be the 83 of Riddle. Robert Pandiscio going to step in there to take the 4th spot on the 23. And the 91 of Streeter will take your top 5. We want to thank you guys for joining in for this race. What an amazing race it was. And we'll see you next week. And remember, this is FMB TV 3 with Alex Bates and Bobby Campbell. Until we meet again.